चैनल में okay, so guys, today you're new to this class. Okay, so this is something people have been attending from many days. तो आज का क्लास फिर भी समझ आ जाएगा आपको प्रभात. आई डोंट थिंक सो दिस विल बी डिफिकल्ट. See, what is one major topic which we have to cover in your uh, Linux classes is Linux architecture. I've seen very frequently in interviews, they'll ask you this question, architecture of Linux. Correct? One thing is this. The second concept which we would require for our DevOps is how to change the host name. We will talk about that because that is also very frequently something that will be used by the DevOps team. Okay, because every server we need to locate that based on its name. See, I might have development environment 1, development environment 2, development environment 3. Correct? I might have testing environment 1, testing environment 2, or QA environment 1, QA environment 2, QA environment 3. And every environment I'm deploying some code. There are different servers. For now, when I launch the server, we just see ec2-user at the rate IP address. Looking at the IP address, I cannot find out which server it is. But we will all see this one by one. Before that, let's start with the Linux architecture. Okay, so if you just search online, okay, Linux architecture, you will get a lot of images related to this. I will just go to images and I see some images already that has been given here, right? We can pick any one image. I'll pick this image, any image that you wish to. Okay, this is the image that I've got it here. Now, the structure that we are talking about of your Linux operating system is something like this. We have a hardware, then we have kernel, then we have shell, then we have applications. Now, how does this work? Let's understand this one by one. See, what are we doing right now? Okay, I'm writing the command touch a.txt. Now, this is a Linux command that I'm typing. Okay, I'm not using an application. What do you mean by application here is GUI, right? Linux also has graphical user interface. Like if you're using Kali Linux, which is very popular for penetration testing, security testing, you will see that there is all UI there. Using an UI, there are a lot of built-in tools that has been given in Kali Linux. Okay, it is all GUI based. So application here, it means GUI based. So one way of interacting with it is there is a GUI like Windows operating system. You can launch a browser, just click on the browser and that will launch the browser. Correct? Now, how does this work? This application here is a GUI. So when I click on the browser, a request from this application is sent to shell. Okay. Now, what is the job of shell here? Shell here is an interpreter. Okay. It's an interpreter. What it does now, whatever actions you're performing on a GUI, shell will understand that. And after understanding that, it converts into a format which kernel can understand. What kernel does, kernel is a mediator between your operating system or your operating system and the hardware. Whatever things you're doing based on GUI, suppose I click on a browser, that whatever operations I performed, the shell will understand that. Then it will translate that into something what a kernel can understand. And the kernel is the one finally that interacts with the hardware. Like whatever hardware you see in your computer, right? All that hardware interactions to happen, the kernel is the one important for your hardware interactions. If you just see this here, importantly, okay, see this now. If I copy and go to ChatGPT, probably this will give you more information. See this here. So hardware, see now, the kernel is a core part of Linux operating system. It is responsible for managing hardware resources and enabling communication between the hardware and software. So whatever you do in the software, that things information is gone to the kernel, and the kernel is the one translate that into a way that your hardware can understand, respond to that. Correct? Like we have an operating system. Okay, we have basically here what? Right? Okay, we have here the hardware. Correct? Now whatever you are doing either in the GUI, that will be picked up by the shell. Shell will convert that into a format what kernel can understand. Kernel will translate that into a format, basically what your hardware can understand. And from there, the hardware will start responding to what I did in the GUI. But I'm not using a GUI. What I am doing here is I'm writing commands. So this application part will not come into picture for me. Now for me, when I write this command, we have a shell. Now what shell does, shell is the one that is executing your commands here. So whatever command I type now, shell here acts like an interpreter. If you now notice here, somewhere further shell is a command line interface, right? So what it does now, whatever commands I'm writing it here, whatever command I'm writing it now, that command is given to shell. So there is one layer in your Linux operating system called as shell. And this shell is responsible. Okay, this shell is a command that allows user to interact with the system, run programs, manage. Okay, system through commands. I'm talking about through commands. So whatever commands I'm writing it here now, shell will take that command, understand that command, translate that into a way such that kernel can understand. Then kernel will instruct the hardware that create this file in your storage block with the name a.txt. Did you understand now? Which means kernel is acting like a mediator, between your software and hardware. Okay, I hope this part is clear everyone now. So how many layers we have it here? We have a hardware, then kernel that interacts with the hardware, input to the kernel goes through shell, and shell here takes the input either via the GUI. If you're interacting with Linux using a GUI, the input will go via GUI, right, to the shell. Shell will translate that into, okay, a format which kernel can understand. Kernel will translate that into a format such that hardware can understand, and accordingly the hardware will start responding it. If I'm not using a Linux GUI, I'm writing commands, that what we are doing it right now. Whatever commands we are writing it now, these commands are given to shell. I'm not talking about shell scripting. Do not get confused here. I'm talking about shell. Okay. I'm just talking about shell, which is nothing but a command line interface that allows users to interact with the system, run programs, and manage the system. Which means whatever commands I'm writing here, whether the commands are right, wrong, is there a syntax mistake in that? Will this command execute, not execute? This is all taken care by what? Shell. Shell is the one that is executing your commands. Keep this in mind. Is this clear, everyone? These commands that you give now, shell will verify, execute, convert it into a way such that kernel can understand. Then kernel will now translate that into a way that hardware can understand. This is the simple architecture of Linux. If you just go ahead and explain this in the interview as it is, that is done. So what are the layers we need to remember? What are the layers we need to remember here? Can you tell me? Huh? We have hardware, kernel, shell, application, or instead of application, commands. Okay, application here means I'm talking about the GUI. So using GUI, when you perform certain operation, that will go to shell. Shell will understand that, translate that into a way that kernel can understand. Kernel will translate that into a way that hardware. Which means to interact with the hardware, kernel is important. Without kernel, you cannot interact with the hardware. The other way could be, I'm not using a GUI, I'm writing commands the way I'm doing it now in our Linux course. So when I write this command touch a.txt, which is used for creating a file, this command is given to shell. Got it? That's what you see here. Observe, it says that manage the system through commands. So whatever commands you're giving it now, that commands are executed by the shell. The shell will then execute that command, convert that into a format that kernel can understand. And the kernel will further interact with the hardware. Okay, I hope this part is clear. All online students, please tell me. Yes, and here there's a small topic, and without covering this topic, proceeding further will not make sense. Let's clear this. Okay, so here also people, right. Now, the next thing we people are going to look at is how to change the host name. So let's go back here to our EC2 instance. Here, let's launch one instance. As I've deleted all the instances, let me launch one instance. Let me select Amazon Linux. Let's create a new key pair. Right, I'll call that as DevOps 01. Let's create a key pair, launch the instance. Okay. Meanwhile, let me take this key pair, go to G drive, go to key pairs, here, select, delete, paste this. Let's open git bash, right? And then let's log in and we'll talk about what is host name. So let's select this particular checkbox and then not this one, click on connect. For the first time, when you're accessing the file, change the permissions of the file. That's the rule. So I'm just changing it to 400. You understand the meaning now, 400 here very well, right? Okay, next we will copy this example and paste this here. Done. Yes. Now see, I'm going to clear this. See here. What is now your host name? Looking at this host name, tell me one thing. Are you able to understand this server is used for what? In reality, you might have lots of servers, and every server, there is some services running. Okay. For now, to understand, I might have development environments. I might have development environment, okay, 1. I might have development environment 2. I might have development environment 3. Okay. I might have testing environment 1, testing environment 2, testing environment 3. I might have production environment. Now, if this name we do not change, we will not be able to understand which server I've connected to. So we'll have to change this host name, which is very common requirement for a DevOps engineer. So how do I change this host name? So in order to change the host name, we can just type here, okay, change host name in Amazon Linux. Be very clear about it. Now it says you can change the host name temporarily until the next reboot, which means until and unless you don't reboot your server, this host name will be there. Moment you restart your server, the host name is gone. Now, how do I do that? So they've just given you sudo, which means the user should have sudo privileges, super user, right? Privileges, the host name and give the host name. Let me copy, go back here, paste it, and let me change the host name. So let's give here the host name, which is nothing but production, or let's give it here development environment, dev environment 1. Okay, dev environment 1, enter. Okay, now you see that this has not changed. Am I right? So what I'll do is I'll just perform an exit and let me try to reconnect. What do you see now? Got it now? But this is temporarily changed. So what they're telling, if you reboot, you can reboot from here as well. Just type sudo reboot. Or you can probably go here to your EC2 instance, select the instance, and after selecting the instance, you can just select here reboot. Okay, there's another way to do it, or you can type this command and reboot. What we did here. See, I'm rebooting it now. The connection got disconnected. The system will power off now. And now when you connect, this host name is gone. That's what is the meaning of temporarily changing the host name. Now I would change the host name permanently. Temporarily changing it, okay, for time being I'm doing it, but this will not make sense. Better, let's give the names to the server permanently, so that when we connect, we know, okay, this is a server, and with this server, I'm doing so and so things. Okay, let's look at here. If the rebooting is completed, let's see this. Okay, so it has now, okay, so it is done. So let's try to connect this now. So when I connect this, you see that the name is gone. Got it? Now, if you want to permanently change this host name, so today's topic is very small, but we will have to cover all these topics. Is this clear? Then we'll start talking about shell scripting today itself, and we'll try to see what is shell scripting all about basically. Okay. So now that basically we people saw temporarily to change it, let's see how to change this permanently. So you see here, change the host name permanently. Now to change the host name permanently, we'll have to open this file. Which file? We will have to open this file. So let's ask for vi. Okay. So we'll open the host file using a vi editor. We'll not use that particular thing. We'll use this vi editor. And after that, sudo vi host. And we'll change the host name here. Let's see how to do this now. Let me just open this up. You know already vi editor. We have talked about that earlier. Yes or no? So let's go here. Copy. Go back. Use sudo, otherwise this file will not open up with the sudo privileges. Now you see this here, I have this host name that has been given here. Okay. Now the question is, I have to change this host name. So uh, it says host name, press I, that is all okay. Edit the host. Use the arrow keys to navigate to the line containing the old host name, which might look like this. Escape. Okay. Let me not edit off something else. Let me be a bit careful here. So I will press I, insert mode. Let me copy, and I'll be very clear about it. Okay. Change the name here to dev environment 1. Okay. Is this clear? See. So, okay, the updated file will look like this. Dev environment 1. Did you understand this now? Yeah? So let's try this now. Let me paste this in here. Okay. Let me paste this in here. I messed up. Hold on. Let me just delete this all. Okay. So this local host, see, what are we changing here is the localhost dot local domain. So we're adding a dev environment 1. So localhost, this part, we are changing it to dev hyphen environment 1. कहाँ चला गया भाई? यहाँ पे. Okay. Here. Fine. Dev hyphen environment 1. So that is what we are doing it here. Dev hyphen environment 1. And then here, okay, before this localhost 6, we are changing dev environment 1. So localhost 6 here. Let's go to the next line and let's type here dev hyphen environment 1. Is this clear? Escape mode colon WQ. Remember the file name. Now you need to reboot the system. Sudo reboot. We can start from here also. Okay, you need not basically do it from. Now this is a permanent change. So every time you reboot also, the name will not change. Let's see. No. I hope this is clear, everyone. Everybody got it? So this will help us to recognize the servers properly. This will help us to recognize the servers properly. Correct? No, it did not change. right? I think there is a mistake that we have done here, right? We have done a mistake here. Reboot. Hmm, no, the steps given here is not right. 1 minute. Let me just check that. Let's see this here. 1 minute. So let us sudo. 1 minute. Sudo. Okay. Here is where you need to change that. Okay, I picked up a wrong file basically. Did you understand now? So let's click on insert and let me change that here. Let's see. Okay, let me change that here. Let's see. So I'm going to change that here. What is the name I want to give? Dev hyphen environment hyphen one. तो देखते sudo reboot. Okay, let's see that once. Is this clear? See, this is the file name. ये घुमा देता है कभी कभी अपने को. Host name. मैंने क्या edit किया था तभी? etc host name. Sudo vi host name. I don't know what got opened up that time. Correct. I just now did this. Sudo vi etc slash host name. I saw the file there. Let's try to see this here. If it is started, you see, it works. Clear with this? तो चैट जीपीटी से थोड़ा बच के रहना है. करेक्ट. तो थोड़ा सा ध्यान से देखो. आई डिड नॉट ऑब्जर्व व्हाट कमांड डिड आई यूज अर्लियर एंड व्हाट आई डिड अर्लियर. वी आई स्लैश ई टी सी स्लैश होस्ट मैंने ये एडिट कर दिया था. समझे क्या? अपने को क्या एडिट करना था? So you have to edit the file sudo vi slash etc slash hostname. That is the one you have to edit it. Okay. Once you edit this one, if you reboot your system, let's see after rebooting it whether still this works. Okay. So the file name is slash etc slash hostname. Remember that sudo vi slash etc slash hostname. Okay. And that is how you can change your hostname. Now you can start giving the names to the server so that based on that host names, identifying in this server what is happening. Whether it's a development environment, testing environment, whatever it is, we can see that here. Correct? You see that? Okay. Let's now change this again. Let's go here. Let's go here. Let us change this time to testing. Let us change this time to testing. So I will make this as QA hyphen and okay, insert mode, insert mode. Oh, hold on. हमने कुछ गलत कर दिया. हाँ. Okay. Right. So clear. Then sudo vi host name. Found swap file by etc username root host name. पता नहीं. Insert mode. Anyways, we will keep doing delete. Let's change this to QA hyphen environment hyphen one. Okay. Escape mode colon WQ. Fine. Sudo reboot. समझे क्या? वो छोड़ दो. वो जो भी एरर वेरर था वगैरह वो सब छोड़ दो. एस्केप डाल के फिर से फाइल को मैंने एडिट किया वहां पे. ओके. Let's reboot and see this whether the file name is changing again. The host name is changing again. Did you understand this now? How to change the host name temporarily? Sudo host name, host name. temporary changes. When you restart your Linux server, what will happen? The name will be lost. If you want to permanently change the name, what you will do? Sudo vi slash etc slash hostname. Give the host name, reboot. Once you reboot, it will take that name permanently. Why the host names are given? Because that will help us to understand which services are running in which server. Because I will start running the service in different servers. I might run database services in one server. The database is running in one server. I'll take that URL. Okay. I'll connect with the application. Application I will run in another server. Got it? So like this, there are different services that you will be having it. And for that reason, give the name, okay, to your servers, the host names, which is kind of meaningful. Okay. I hope this is clear now. See, this got changed. Was this class clear? Yes, online students. Was this clear? Please tell me. Everyone? Okay. Now, we have to understand shell scripting purpose. So we are going to look at now why shell scripting is required. Why shell scripting is required. Is required. Firstly. See, when we are talking about shell scripting, scripts, not only shell script, any scripts, VB script, JavaScript, shell scripting. One major reason why scripts are used is for automating the task. Even VB scripting, if you notice many years back, it was very popular and it was used for automating your testing activities with QTP, which later called as UFT, Quick Test Professional. There was one of the tool, if you notice 10 years back, it was very popular, where people would use VB scripting, write the scripts in VB script, and that would automate the testing on a browser, which means I'm automating the browser. Correct? So I can automate the things like it would automatically launch the browser, enter the username and password in it, click on login. Whether login has happened or not, it would check and give us the result. So the major purpose of the scripts to automate the task. Okay, that is one of the major thing. Fine. Now here, what I want to automate. See, let's assume now I want to take the backup of the files every night 12 o'clock. Now, if I want to take this, backup of the file every night 12 o'clock, probably I can automate that by writing all my commands in a script file. I can write all my commands in the script file. And after writing the commands in the script file, I can just automatically run that script file at 12 a.m. Automatically at 12 a.m., the file would run. And when the file runs, all the Linux commands that I'm writing in the file, that will also execute. Got it? So I want to take the backup of the file. I can do this. Let's say I want to automate some other task. Okay, I can go ahead and do that. So the major purpose, if you just go ahead and look at here also, shell scripting purpose. I don't know what this will give, but let's see shell scripting purpose. Okay, let's put a question mark. Let's see what it says. Okay, see the first thing only it says shell scripting is a powerful way to automate the task on Unix like operating system such as Linux. Okay, so we are basically using Linux, which is a modified version of Unix, which I've already talked about it earlier. Fine, we'll all talk about what is this, yeah. So whatever it is, like, people call that as, shebang or shabong or whatever it is. So we will see that why this is required also today. Firstly, let's continue further. So this is of no use. We wanted here, okay, these things to be used for automating the repetitive task, system administration. For example, let's say whenever a new user joins, I want to create a username and password for him. I can automate that task. Okay, I can automate lot of networking tasks. I can automate lot of other tasks in Linux by using what scripts. Now, how to create a script? Let's see a simple example here. Firstly, so I'm going to create here one file vi, and we will call that file as script or whatever name you want to give it. Okay, we'll give name script.sh. The script files are given an extension sh. So I'm opening up the file in VI editor. Click on insert, and now you can give here some basic commands. You remember some of the basic commands? I've given the calendar command, initial first class, then date command, then okay, who am I, then PWD, correct? Now, what I will do is, I will just, okay, that's not required here. Now, what I will do is, करते जाओ भाई, तुम करते जाओ, थोड़े कमेंट्स लिख रहा हूं मैं, अब पूरा कमेंट्स लिखवा दोगे आप पिछले 12 दिन का, राइट? escape colon wq. Now I have a file here which is script.sh. Now I want to execute this file, so I will just type script.sh, script.sh. You see that all the commands present in that file is executing. So like this, I can write all that commands, the Linux commands that I want to execute in the file. If I run the file, all the commands in the file will execute. Got it? So it will execute all the commands in the file. This is for the date, this is for who am I, and this is for calendar command. Is this clear, everyone? So first thing, in the script file, I can write all that Linux command, and you can save all that commands in one place. And whenever you want to repeatedly execute the same commands, you can just execute that script file. But how does the script file works? What is the scripting? Right? Scripting helps us to automate the task. What is programming? So scripting is a lightweight coding which is used for automating tasks. But programs, when we are talking about like Java program, C sharp, C++, right? These all things are used to develop the backend of the application. Like we are going to learn further Spring Boot in our course. We are going to learn Hibernate in our course. These all things we require programming languages there. Okay, that's where programming languages will come into picture. Now, when you are running Java, what do we require? What do we require? We require a JDK software. Correct? Why we require JDK software? Because it gives us a compiler and runtime environment. Same way, when you want to run your shell script, firstly, we require an environment which will run our shell script. But even before we talk about shell script and running of it, you need to understand there are flavors of shell script. Okay, so if you now notice here, flavors of shell script, right? Flavors of shell script. So you will see that there are flavors of shell script like bash. This is one of the most commonly used and popular shell script, which is called as what? Bash. Okay, so this is what the full form is, which is of no use. ये सब interview में कोई पूछेगा नहीं. But every flavor of shell scripting, there are some plus and minus in that. Okay, like the syntaxes will be slightly different. There are some features added in some script versions. Okay, script flavors, and in some scripting flavors, those concepts will not be there. Got it? So there are different flavors in which I can write shell script. One of the most default one and the popular one is bash. Then comes is sh. This is another one. Okay, I can also write shell script using this flavor, where obviously now this will have some slight variations in the features that is present in it. Same way, we have one more flavor which is called as Z shell. Then we have fish. Then we have, okay, KSH. Then we have, okay, we have TCSH. Then we have dash. Bash ho gaya, dash ho gaya. Then we have CSH. So these, there are so many flavors. Okay, there are so many flavors of shell scripting that we have it. And every flavor, there are certain features that is basically what? That it comes with. Okay, now we need not basically worry about all these features. For DevOps point of view, shell scripting with bash is more than enough. Now you see that whenever we create a shell script file, you see this here. Okay, what has this been given? Okay, so right, it is shebang. Okay, shebang. Okay, is this clear? हाँ, so it is shebang. So कोई कोई अलग अलग लोग अलग अलग टाइप से प्रोनाउंस करते, So shebang is what basically you will be pronouncing this at. Is it clear everybody now? Okay. जैसे pronounce करना है करो भाई, technical guy को ये सब क्या मतलब है इससे. But anyways, shebang. Now what is shebang? Shebang helps us to select which flavor of shell script I am going to use and write my shell script. So you notice, okay, I have here, right, hash exclamation slash bin slash bash. What does it mean? Now when I open this file, if on the top of this file, on the top of this file, okay, on the top of this file, if I'm using here, if I'm using here hash exclamation bin bin slash bash. Okay. Now you see this here. If I'm using this, then it means I'm using a flavor of shell scripting, which is bash. And I'm going to follow the syntaxes and the features of bash. That is more than enough for me. Tomorrow you want to use some other flavor. Then it is like you're going to give, this will change. This will help you to select a different flavor of shell scripting. Now, if you want now this particular shell script, then go with this. So these things are like, I can say, you're selecting basically the flavors of shell script in which you wish to write your shell scripting in. Okay. So we will stick on to this one. Are you understanding, guys? Now we will stick on to what? Bin bash. No, why? We will write in one flavor. We need not basically be a gajni कि मल्टीपल फ्लेवर्स देखना है, क्योंकि आप प्रोग्राम लिखोगे एक, इसमें लिखोगे अलग अलग, लिख में क्या अचीव करना है आपका रिक्वायरमेंट के हिसाब से यू विल पिक अप द शेल स्क्रिप्टिंग फ्लेवर. अब हमारे डेवऑप्स के लिए बैश इज इनफ. अब हो सकता है मैं नेटवर्किंग कर रहा हूं, तो नेटवर्किंग के लिए कोई अलग शेल स्क्रिप्टिंग का फ्लेवर मेरे लिए मोर बेनिफिशियल होगा. गॉट इट? सो बेस्ड ऑन यू आर यूजिंग इट फॉर व्हाट, that is where we will be deciding it which, okay, flavor of shell scripting we will be picking that up. Is this part clear, all of you? So they'll ask you this now, what is shebang? Shebang helps us to select the flavor of shell scripting that I want to use, okay, in my project. Is this clear everyone now? This is what is shebang all about. And for every flavor, the shebang is going to what? Change. For fish, you can see that this is how you will be using it. For KSH, this is what you will be using it. Okay. See, this is what it says, combines the features of conch shell. It is a high performance shell that combines the features of SH, CHS and bash. So ये combination of तीन हो गया, right? If you are using with this, see, user friendly shell. Fish is designed to be interactive, user friendly with focus on ease to use and modern features. Like इसमें syntax highlighting मिल जाएगा आपको, right? Auto suggestions based on the command history. So this is what you are getting it. Powerful and intuitive scripting syntax. So that is the advantage if you're going with what? Fish. So if you go with ZSH, you see that auto completion for commands, files, and even options. Okay. So wildcard matching. We have in Java wildcards and things like that. Wildcard matching. Powerful history mechanism. Customizable prompts. Right. Okay. And we have here this one, the one which we are looking at, default shell. So this is by default present in all the Linux operating system. So command completion, tab completion, correct? So you can basically, so this command completions that you're seeing here, this command completions that you're seeing here now, you can, okay, complete the command, right? Is this clear? So command completion, then we have job control, background, foreground processes. You can run this in the background, foreground, extensive scripting capabilities, arrays, functions, etc. So every flavor, that's what I said, there are some plus and minus features that is present. As per your requirement, you can pick that up. So if you go with this one, then provides features like command and editing, file name completion. So then we have this, okay, it lacks some of the extended features. So it's a very minimal shell, very basic implementation. If you want, then you can use this. Then C-like syntax was developed by Bill Joy, has a syntax similar to C programming language. So here the syntaxes are varying. Okay, the syntaxes would vary. C like programming, so people would have studied C programming in first year of engineering, like how Java programming language, we have C programming languages, things like that. Okay, so this is what it is. Did you understand what I said? Did you understand the introduction of basically scripting? Yes. So tell me why scripts are used to automate the task. How do you create a script file? VI script.sh. Okay, sh is the extension for script file. Then what is your shabang? What is shabang? It helps you to select, okay, which flavor of shell script we have to use. And every flavor of shell script, there are plus and minus features that is present in it. Is this clear, everyone? Now, depending on your requirement, you can pick that up. By default, bash, the one that we are using it now, that is available in almost all operating systems by default. Is this clear, everyone? Yeah. So with this, we have just given introduction. Tomorrow onwards, we will do deep dive into what? Deep dive into, yes, आज का क्लास क्लियर था? ऑनलाइन स्टूडेंट्स क्लियर था? ये बहुत इजी है, स्क्रिप्टिंग में कुछ नहीं रखा है, बहुत इजी है स्क्रिप्टिंग, राइट? जिन्होंने यहाँ पे जावा पढ़ा हुआ उनके लिए कुछ नहीं है, यहाँ पे तो सारे जावा पढ़ने वाले बच्चे यहाँ पे, राइट? तो उनके लिए कुछ नहीं होगा, सेम वो इफ कंडीशंस होगा, प्रिंटिंग होगा, वेरिएबल्स होगा, एनवायरमेंट वेरिएबल्स होगा, करेक्ट? सेम कॉन्सेप्ट यहाँ पे रिपीट होने वाला है। 4 दिन में, 4-5 दिन में तो शेल स्क्रिप्टिंग आप सीख भी लोगे। इट इज़ वेरी बेसिक। ओके, इज दिस क्लियर? कुछ ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं लगने वाला। सी, do we need to learn Python also? It's a good option, but in our program, I have Python classes. I have Python classes, which is a recorded series with me. For people to understand that, you can take that up. I have very good lectures on Python recorded by me, present in my app. Okay, but I'm right now focusing on what? Shell scripting. Is this clear? But Python, we had done some recording some 4-5 years back, but इसके लिए काफी है, right? Is this clear, everyone? Okay. So Python's, you can write the scripts in Python or shell script. Okay, bye. Take care. हम चालू करेंगे ऐप में, रुक जाओ बहुत जल्दी। हाँ।